All right, guys, welcome to Web3 Global Talks episode 414. Hope you guys are doing well. I think we can probably go ahead and get started with a round of introductions, and hopefully the other two will join in time. But yeah, so if you're new here, what we like to do is about a minute apiece tell the people who you are and who you're representing before we jump into the roundtable discussion. Also, if you guys could like, comment, and retweet out the space, we definitely appreciate it, and it would help everybody out. But yeah, I think I'll start from top to bottom for the intros here. So we'll go with asset swap.
Hi everyone, thank you to having us. I'm Josh, CEO of Asset Swap. Nice to meet you. Asset Swap is your AI copilot where we connect to all the different data in the market, off-chain, on-chain, and sentiment, where you can analyze live all the instant information. We develop a fully infrastructure for any finance, and we develop our first agent is live. It's called Meme Sniper, where you can snap any meme coin and get instant information about all the market, about the coin, about the wallet, and track it, and also take the position, buy, sell, and create the different automation. It's fully innovative. It's only based on prompt information, and everything is seamless integration with Wallet Connect, email wallet, and everything, the latest technology you can find in the market now.
Très bien. Thank you, sir. All right. ZK Link.
Hey guys, my name is Nicholas. I am from the marketing team in ZKLink, and at ZKLink, we are building the infrastructure that connects fragmented blockchains into one unified network, and we are using ZK technology. So basically, we are enabling seamless cross roll-up between different blockchains and help out with liquidity aggregation while keeping the security and scalability fantastic for users. So in a gist, we are basically helping to aggregate and help the DeFi ecosystem. And recently, we have expanded beyond infrastructure. We have also going to the AI agent narrative. So we are building our own framework to bring agents into by also using ZK technology and basically facilitate our existing DeFi infrastructure, but it's the process of building this network is still in the works. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Reland.
Hey guys, how's it going? Enyo here, co-founder of Relay Network. Just been at ECC. Sorry about the background noise. In terms of what we're building, we relend USDC from Ethereum into money markets on L1s and L2s. So we're aiming to solve the cold start problem, where with lending protocols, suppliers won't come unless there's borrowers, and borrowers won't come unless there's suppliers. Our protocol acts as the supplier by providing supply-side liquidity directly into the money markets on our partner chains. Currently, we live on Starknet, Swellchain, HyperEVM. We actively integrating with apps on Monad Testnet, and our next deployment will be on TAC, the Telegram blockchain. In terms of USDC on-chain, we're one of the only protocols that can earn real lending revenue from lending the USDC more than once.
All right. Thank you, man. Okay. Pengo.
Okay, hello. Thank you to the host. I'm Jay. Excited to be here. Okay, so what is Pingo? Pingo is the first AI and payment project on the Tor network. What does make us unique is that we are actually utilizing the computing resources. Think of those computers and devices around the world. They are not being used to their full potential. And we are channeling that powerful AI and machine learning development. This year, our main focus is on building a deep infrastructure, and once our blockchain services are fully available, we will be able to support the creation of all kinds of AI models, including AI agents and more advanced decentralization. A little background before long before Pingo as a Web3 project, we were already operating as a Web2 shipping company, a centralized physical infrastructure network. We offer almost 100,000 devices spread across several countries, like what in North America, to in Europe, and to again in Pacific. But as the world, as if we decided to fully transition from Web 2 to Web 3 technology, embracing the decentralization and the blockchain technology to unlock even more potential for our user and partner. As for our live products, we already have several that are up and running. First, like CD and staking, which allow users to stake and earn rewards by supporting our content development network. Then there's the CD and Pinger, like a mining product. User can contribute their computing resources and big reward. We also have a Pani NFT with us. Is a unique NFT can be used mining directly in the Pingo site. For those interested in AIR, we offer AIGT Masterpiece and AI prompting tool that lets a user create image with just a few words prompting. And finally, there Panibot, which is currently running our Pingo other application too. So yeah, that's it from me. Thank you.
Thank you, man. All right, and I'm terrible with acronyms. This is either kernel or KRNL. I'm so sorry, I don't know.
Yeah, so it's actually kernel. So you got it right the first time. Hi guys, I'm Kiso, head of BD at Kernel Labs. Just a bit more about kind of what we're building as well. Essentially, without going into any of the specifics, we're a piece of middleware or tooling that allows for developers and application builders to access diverse functionality across any blockchain as well as off-chain environments. And we provide this sort of service of orchestration in a cryptographically verifiable way, so you can trust the results that you retrieve from sources in other locations, and essentially can use that to inform logic on whatever chain you're operating on.
Nice, thank you, man. Okay, and Simon with Nivex.
Hey guys, I hope everyone's doing well. So I'm Simon Hardy. I'm a CEO and co-founder of Nivex. We are building centralized crypto exchange, AI-powered crypto exchange with features, products, services for the people who are, well, not as experienced. We guide people to use AI products that we provide. Like, for example, we have more than 70 AI agents that trade automatically for you. We give people functions to create their own AI agents within the platform, so you don't have to stress about trading if you are not a trader. Like, you know, from my experience being 10 years in the markets, 85% of people are not traders. And out of the 10% of people who are traders, they are not really sharing their trading services with others. That's why we also designed something that is popular on a forex market, which is copy trading, but it's not as popular in a crypto market. That's why we also design a copy trading platform within Nivex for the people to be able to maybe copy and mirror transactions of their friends, of the traders they know. And also we provide institutional grade trading for people who don't know people in trading to be able to copy them as well.
Nice, thank you, man. All right, and Daniel with Silencio.
Hey guys, how are you?
Good, man. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, so I'm the PMO at Silencio. So basically, Silencio is a different project. What we do is that we empower cities with real-time insights as we do. And like, imagine a world with urban planners, governments, institutions, you know, they don't have a real understanding of what's going on. So what we do is that we empower people to collect via their smartphones decentralized data, and this help you know, the data that we use help governments, cities, you know, to make a healthier, more livable environments. At the moment, we have about 1.1 million users. We started on peak, and we're about to launch a series of new, very interesting products. For example, we're going to do a Google Chrome extension this week that allows you to connect to Booking.com or Expedia, in which you can check your hotel, you can see the price, whatever, but you can open the extension and also see the noise levels range. So it's a pretty good application on deeping, I would say.
Nice. Thank you, man. All right. We'll go ahead and jump into the questions now, guys. The first question, we're talking a bit about building today. And it's, are we building systems that can evolve without us, or systems that will need intervention forever on chain, in you guys' opinion? And for this question and all questions, we'll go off of a hand raise of the heart at the bottom and the hand all the way to the right. And that's kind of how I'll pick the order of operations here. So I'll wait to see if I see any hands. And I know at least one of you guys messaged me about being on a time crunch. So we'll kind of go off of that too. But yeah, Simon, I see you, man.
Yeah, I see no one's raising hands, so why not? Well, in terms of systems, we are building systems in Nivex. So, if you think about it, the perfect and ideal system has already been designed. It's Bitcoin. And can it really operate without our intervention? Like, if we don't promote Bitcoin, if we don't spread the idea of Bitcoin, if we don't share it with our friends and people, if other institutions won't participate in the network, is it really a perfect system? I come from a marketing background, and from my experience, doesn't really matter how good product is, it will always need people, it will always need marketing. And I wouldn't really rush for completely automated systems, because it will happen with AI. It will happen anyway. Within the next 10, 20 years, most of the jobs on the market will get replaced. And what we gonna do then? So I would enjoy the time we have now, the time when we can work, the time we can build, when we can build, and participate in this economy, and share it with other people, socialize, and improve the systems as we go, because the full automatization will come. And unfortunately for us at the moment, we need to pay attention who's really building this automatization, because if this systems, fully automated systems, will be built by the same people that are in power at the moment, what will really change? It's gonna be fully automated control on chain. Instead of having banks and the government controlling us, it's gonna be control on chain. So, I don't think we should rush in that direction. Of course, it would be nice to have everything fully automated and live life, high life, but meaning of life is created by the work we do. So, yeah.
Yeah, pretty philosophical answer there, man, and which I could definitely appreciate. We definitely get philosophical here, and I tend to kind of agree. I am a little concerned about where AI is heading as well. It has the potential to really help us out as humans. It also has the potential to, kind of ruin what it is to be human as well. So that's one of the things that is always in the back of my mind, should be in the back of anybody's mind who's dealing with AI, personally, in my opinion. But yeah, good answer, Simon.
Yeah, that's like, for example, Sam Altman recently in a podcast said that people trust in AI power too much. People believe in everything AI says, but we should cut it half, because AI is sometimes delusional, and a lot of people don't paying attention to that. AI is giving wrong answers sometimes, and people don't even know about it. So I would take it slowly, enjoy life, enjoy building, and like I said, just keep working.
Yeah, kind of ironic that he's the one who said it. I feel like we give that guy a lot of power, but I mean, I could soapbox about that forever. But yeah, thank you, Simon. Appreciate you, man. All right, Colonel.
Yeah, so I completely agree with the points that Simon was making, but I also want to kind of add an additional layer on top, kind of focusing on the idea of, progressive decentralization, which I think is what all of the projects who have, been pushing for are looking to do. And I think, the best examples are, decentralized networks like you mentioned with Bitcoin, but also with things like Ethereum, where there is a strong native, developer community that is driving forward innovation. Obviously, there is a foundation, and there are core team members who are still involved in the kind of high level direction of things. But there is, still organically kind of growing initiatives in the space, and those kind of things are pushed by the community and the people who are involved, rather than necessarily just the founder of Ethereum, or just Vitalik making all the decisions, right? I think we're obviously trying to do something similar with Kernel. So with our infrastructure at the moment, we are going through that progressive decentralization, as we transition to being an open layer. Anyone will be able to run the infrastructure that we create, and in theory, when we disappear, anyone would be able to host the service and still have access to all the kind of cryptographic verification tools we provide as well. So that's the kind of vision for us.
Yeah, and that's another way to look at this question as well. Obviously, I mean, you can look at it from a completely autonomous standpoint, as we've done, but also like the fact of like, does a team always need to be involved in a project, or can something be taken over by a community that can then use it, indefinitely, even if the team isn't there? Which I think is partially the goal, or at least it was for a long time, for a lot of different protocols and things, right? Like you said, the progressive decentralization of things. Although many argue that if you don't start out decentralized, it's near impossible to get to that point. But, I'm not sure if I necessarily subscribe to that. I think it can be done. But yeah. All right. Pingo.
Okay. Oh, wow. This is a really a fascinating question, and it's something we need think about a lot in the Web3 space. Are we building systems that can truly evolve on their own, or will they always need human intervention? So, from my perspective, the answer is not black, the head on white. It's more like a spectrum, because on one hand, technologies like AI and blockchain are designed to be autonomous. For example, like a smart contract can execute a transaction without intermediaries, and the AI can learn from the data and make decisions independently. So the dream is to have a health system that are self-sustaining, adaptive, and able to respond to change in their environment without a constant human oversight. But at the same time, we people believe that human will always play a crucial role. The world is well, constantly changing, and the challenges, regulation, and ethical consideration are always emerging. Even the most advanced system need a guidance, update, and something human thoughts to stay relevant and safe. So ideally, we are building a system that can evolve and adapt on their own, but that also leave a room for human input, supervision, and intervention with necessary. If if we look at history of the technology, almost every major innovation start with a lot of human involvement. After the time, there's a system become more ultimate, but whenever there are a big shift like a new regulation, security threat, or a change in user needs, human have to step in steer the ship. In the context of being our vision is to build an ecosystem that as autonomous as possible. Our network is decentralized, so not all around the world can operate without a single point and control. Our AI is designed to learn and improve over time, making the system smarter and more efficient as it grows. But however, we are fully aware that often the best technology needs a human touch, especially global scale. That's why I committed like us as a big role in governance, like product development and also as an oversight. We believe that a best result come from a synergy between automation and human collaboration. Like, for example, our community can provide feedback, suggest new feature, and even for implementation. We also regularly audit our system for security and performance, and we are not afraid to intervene if something needs a fix in our improving. So yeah, we are building a system that can evolve on their own, but we always keep on the top open for community, innovation, and also intervention. I think this way we'll make sure that our technology does stay relevant, human-centered, and truly beneficial for everyone involved. I think that's it from me. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, man. And I'm kind of the mind that we should always be able to intervene when necessary. Kind of going along with Simon's point as well. I think we can rely too heavily on automation and AI, and kind of lose what makes us human. Not to be too philosophical in here, but I think it's a real issue going forward that we're all going to have to face kind of as humans. Not just in Web3. I think it's going to extend to our everyday lives as well. So yeah, it's good that you guys are keeping that in mind. Absolutely. I know Reland put their hand up second, but I believe he has to go at the 30-minute mark. So Reland, you're up, man.
Yeah, in terms of building systems that evolve by themselves, I think like those systems will continue to be outcompeted by systems which have creative human input coming into them. In terms of like, if you look at even DAO infrastructure, like that's a system that was meant to evolve naturally with human input, but it's being currently outcompeted by smaller teams which are able to execute more efficiently. So I know that personally, if I'm looking at, for example, somewhere to deploy capital, or if I'm looking for a product to use, I don't want to necessarily use a product that's been handed over to evolve by itself, because then it's all based on like what data is it taking in to evolve. And I think it goes down quite a dark matrix path if you sort of leave a system to its own devices and give it the autonomy to update itself. And I think those products will stop serving the needs of their consumer, in the same way that new products can emerge and take market share because they have humans building things for humans. And so, I mean, all in all, I think there are parts of tech that will continue to evolve by itself, in terms of like, no one can explain to you how an iPhone works, but it works as a whole. People can explain individual parts. And similar with AI, like sometimes you can't tell exactly why I gave you a certain answer, but you can verify it's correct. So yeah, I mean, all in all, some parts of the ecosystem I think will start to propagate without human intervention, and then the other parts will still need human input, at least until machines can become more creative.
It's actually a really good point as well that nobody else brought up, is one that I kind of go with as well. Is like, I don't like to invest in something that's completely autonomous without any kind of human touch. And I know that it's supposed to be a trustless system over here. Obviously that means the code, right? But I think people intrinsically want to trust other people to a certain degree, right? I think that we kind of place values as humans on other humans doing things, at least in my opinion, right? I'm a bit wary if something comes out and it's like, oh yeah, doesn't require any kind of intervention at all, for exactly the reasons that you stated, man. And I think more people, kind of feel the same way that I do versus that don't. So yeah, really good point, man.
Yeah, maybe just to add in one more comment, it's like people wonder why blockchain's not usable, and it's because there's a small subset of users that are open to hand over or take full accountability for their engagements with a permissionless machine. And those users, as I'm sure many of you on the call, many of the other speakers and many of the listeners have experienced, is like sometimes you would love to have a human tech team behind the chain because you send a transaction incorrectly, or you make a mistake and it can't be undone. And I think humans, especially the vast majority of people who use consumer applications, they feel very confident in having direct human support.
Yeah, I find it kind of odd that a lot of protocols and things don't have like a tech support line. I mean, obviously, a lot of things get caught up in the startup phase. They may not have the bandwidth to do so, but as they grow, I feel like that's one of the teams that should grow. I mean, I should be able to go to a protocol and see a button for tech support, right? Even just to learn how to use a product. It's kind of weird that a lot of things don't yet, but maybe we'll get to that point. I do know some people who have, like a Zendesk or something like that to help people out, but yeah, absolutely. Good point, man. Asset swap.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mo. I'm very excited. I love the conversation. I love to hear different opinion. I love to understand different point of view and how you see this interesting subject. Let me just ask you guys: do you think that information is power?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Basically, everybody know. The answer is clearly yes. And sometimes the power is good and sometimes the power is bad. Let's say I created an AI that can predict how much, what will be the numbers of the lottery, and all every week I'm winning the competition. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Well, it's good for me. It's bad for the other people who don't have a fair chance. But in life, we look at good and bad from the side of the winning person who tell the story because it's his story. For a moment now, we are at Asset Swap, we do something similar. We cannot trick the system. We use the AI to try to help us to discover which meme coin will be the most trendy, what is the statistic, what should I invest, how can I take one Solana and make it into 10 Solana. Is that a good thing or is it a bad thing? Am I tricking the system? Am I using the system? Is this information giving me power? There's a lot of questions to be asked. But at the moment, we're going into a new place. We boldly go where no one has gone before. So I think it's very fascinating. It's very interesting. People can say their opinion, but that's the beauty of a new technology. That's why, for example, even the people who work at Asset Swap, sometimes we become addicted with our own program. We come home very late and we just uh, our partners are angry why we spend so much time at work because you see the money and you become addicted to it. You become addicted to the adrenaline. You see how you can take 1 cent to make it 2 cents. You feel like you have a superhero power because you know better than everyone which new coins will come. And it can be good, it can be bad. But as I mentioned, information is power. Sometimes we can use the power for good things. Sometimes we can use the power for bad things. When we think about it, the AI is not the only technology that can be good and bad. Look at, for example, the nuclear bomb. Okay, it's a bomb. This technology was being used long time. America is using a world peace, but the people of North Korea, they are slave of the system. One man control a huge amount of people who have no right for nothing. Again, is this information or this power is good as bad? We never know. But let me bring us back to our subject. I think that AI is an amazing opportunity, that we are in a junction of time, that we can experience new things, and we can also break the cycle of poverty or the cycle of this world of trading that in the past was belonged to only certain people in the time. And for example, most of the time when we go to school, they don't teach us how to take a mortgage, how to buy a house, how to have financial freedom. They teach us stuff which when we come to the world, what can we do? We cannot change this value, this information into money. So what I love about AI, which we have an access to information that in the past was kept only for a certain amount of people. So we decided with Asset Swap to make it more liberal and allowed simple people who don't understand nothing about finance to give a glimpse opportunity and try to make some money in a good way. No, it's not 100% sure. It's not like I mentioned going to the lottery and knowing exactly what I win and how much win, but it can definitely give me 70% statistic that give me a better advantage than other people. So I'm asking the question again to my audience. Is this AI is good or is it bad? And the answer, I guess, everybody will answer for himself. I'm very happy I have this opportunity to be part. I invite you all to come and check what we are doing. And I would love to hear other opinion of other members of this beautiful community.
Yeah, well, I think I'll give my answer, which is, I think any technology is agnostic to morality. I mean, it kind of depends on how it's implemented and how humans choose to use it, right? Nothing is born out of intrinsically good or bad, I guess you could say. So yeah, I mean, definitely AI is going to be here. It's just a matter of how far do we let it go, and how do we adapt to using it, right? I mean, if everybody has the same tools, then it is definitely more of an even playing field. I absolutely agree with that sentiment as well. And you mentioned the atomic bomb and different things like that. It's a completely different argument, I suppose. But if anything is close to intrinsically evil, it would probably be that. But again, I guess as now it's a deterrent, right? At least supposedly. So we kind of hope it continues that way. And I won't even pretend as an American to pretend that we are the most moral country either, the only country to ever do so, drop a bomb. But yeah, a lot of a
Yes,
lot.
I agree with you. I agree with you. I just wanted to shock the audience and give the very extreme example. But let me bring us back to the subject. I do believe that AI can be good and bad. I do believe that now there's a lot of opportunity, and we are here to explore. I'm very fortunate enough to be able to take this new technology and try to make me and my community a little bit more with value, a little bit more educated with financial tools, so me and other people could also have an opportunity to create a passive income, something that never been taught in school and never been taught how important. And financial freedom is important, and it's something we should talk about it more, I believe, in the next discussions, especially for women that been taught only to be beautiful and find a good husband, etc. We are here to try to set the mindset, what is good, what is bad. And in the end, I do believe that money is freedom and also information is freedom.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And I absolutely suck at trading personally, so I need all the help that I can get. So yeah, I'm on the lookout. Thank you. All right, Daniel, I see you, man.
Hey, yeah, I think I can give my quick overview on what I think. Yeah, I mean, as we think about building system can evolve without us, or we need intervention. I think that that's a fundamental question when you think about Web3, right? Because the idea is to be truly autonomous, having self-sustaining systems. But the reality is that we are on a journey towards that. We are building the systems for progressive autonomy, but meaning that they're going to evolve towards independence. But I think that the human intervention is always going to be crucial. I mean, if you think about it from a deep in like Silencio, like, yeah, we're going to get there, but it's going to be a progressive, it's going to be progressive decentralization, right? When we go with centralized control to build the robust product and find a market fit, and then, giving the power to the community. So I think that, just to summarize, it's that we are building the systems with the capacity to evolve without us, but this evolution is going to be guided by intelligent human intervention. So it's like a dynamic partnership. We're designed for self-sustainability, but at the same time, it's going to be a process towards that.
Yeah, absolutely. As we talked about, I agree. I think we need to keep intervention as much as possible, to be honest. But yeah, great points, Daniel. All right. That leaves ZK Link, I believe.
Hey guys, yes. So we might have I might have a slightly different opinion. Although AI has come a long way, I feel that we're still not at a point where everything just runs by itself, right? Even right now, most AI projects on Web3 need a team of a lot of humans behind the scenes. So we have, the devs training the models, real humans managing the communities, making sure that even some of these agents don't do anything wrong. So it's still very heavily managed. So even today in the world, when it comes to self-driving cars, that this it's not fully automated yet. So maybe it might happen in 10 years, 15 years now. Of course, a lot of people will disagree with that, but it feels like we're still very much behind. Like there's like no fully autonomous project yet in Web3. That's something that could run on its own without humans. So I guess that's why it's so interesting, right? Because the process, we're going through the whole building process now, and it feels so early and uncertain.
Yeah, and I think now is the proper time to talk about it. Absolutely, because we are so early, right? Yeah, as far as technology is right now, it still requires an insane amount of intervention. I mean, especially for AI and things, and even making sure, one of the other things about AI is if you decentralize AI out. I mean, you're talking about potentially poisoned models and different issues that are going on that I think people are still trying to solve as well. So yeah, I mean, this is the time that we kind of come together, as a community and decide, how far do we want to take this thing. So yeah, I mean, absolutely, man. We still have time. I think that people can be a little doom and gloom about things, but I don't think it necessarily has to be a bad time for us overall. So yeah, good points, man. All right. We're going to switch gears a little bit to speaking more in general about product market fit now. And the question is, given where we're at right now as we're moving through the space and as narratives shift and different things, should product market fit in Web3 be prioritizing financialization for their protocols or user experience more, in your opinion? And we'll go off of a hand raise again, guys. So yeah, Simon, you're good, man.
Same order, huh? It's really interesting to hear so many different takes on previous question, and I would really love to talk about different opinions of all of you guys. But of course, I'm not gonna keep you all here for 3 hours. Um, but it's really interesting that we are talking Web3 here, crypto, blockchain, and it's almost impossible not to mention AI along the way, right? We are talking system and automation, and everyone accepts it that AI is already part of it. So that's really interesting. But coming back to the question, product market fit, I always say that user experience comes first, right? Without users, nothing exists. But after providing marketing for hundreds of companies over the past 10 years, I noticed that there is a market for everything, and people are getting really attracted to token staking yields when the numbers go really, really up, right? When there's immediate growth, there's a lot of attention, there's a lot of hype, and a lot of liquidity comes in. But it's not necessarily good because it's not sustainable and attracts a lot of bad actors. Most of the businesses that prioritize financialization, they die very fast, because if you don't treat your users as you're supposed to treat them, then your project won't last. And we should focus on user experience first, because by focusing on users, we kind of attract loyal customers, real adoption, and trust and longevity. If we are not focusing on customer experience first, user experience first, then honestly, the business will go nowhere. We have a great example of Amazon, right? Of course, it's not in crypto, but Amazon always had this thing in mind that customer comes first, right? That's why they provide such amazing services. That's why they grew to such a big company. So, in short, if you want to start, in short, I would say you want to start with UX that solves a pain, and then amplify it with financial incentives that align with the user's behavior. So users first, and then incentivize people.
Yeah, I like that answer, Simon. And the reason why I even asked this in the first place is because it seems that user experience has been more by the wayside than it has been at the forefront for a really long time. And I think that that's kind of where we shot ourselves in the foot a little bit. I make jokes in the spaces all the time that no matter what issue we're talking about, it always loops back around to somebody mentioning UI and UX, which is why I asked the question in the first place, because it is borderline atrocious over here sometimes. It's not always that bad, but there's times where I've used a protocol and I'm like, this looks like it was made in GeoCities in like the year 2000. It's like, it's crazy. And I think that in order to keep people long term, they have to be able to use a product. And a lot of the financialization aspect is exactly what you're talking about, where, it's very front loaded, very like good for maybe a month or so, and then kind of peters off from there, which I think kind of stifles any kind of long-term gains. So I agree 100%.
Yeah, like you said, like I really mention it in every single speech that I give, and crypto market came a long way, but at the moment we are below 5% of the world adoption, because we were at higher basically world adoption, but how can we enter mass adoption? How can we keep people in crypto when they go into some meme coin, some Ponzi, or in some other nonsense? They invest money, they lose money, and they leave, of course, right? So if we really want to build this market and enter this mass adoption to bring the rest of the world to crypto, we should show them the right way to bring them here, keep them here, treat them well, show them the way, keep them as long as possible so they have a time to learn. Instead of they come, they get scammed and they leave, right? So user experience always first. That's how it's supposed to be. But unfortunately, like you said, that's not the way recently in crypto. Over the past 2 years, it was terrible.
Yeah, well, a lot of us, I mean, we put up with a lot of abuse that a lot of mainstream people will not put up with. We've all, I mean, I'm speaking for you guys, but I would venture to say you guys have all had a bit of a trial by fire to, get in here and understand how things are working out. And, that kind of extreme trial by fire isn't really good for, your mom or your dad or even your friends who just aren't into crypto. So, yeah, absolutely great points, man. All right, it's gonna be Daniel and then ZK Link and then Pingo so far. So Daniel, you're up, man.
Hey, yeah, I fully agree with what you're saying. I think that for a long time we have been uh, focused on this on the side of the more of financialization, and we saw that we had good token incentives, and it attracted a lot of capital. But you see that the majority of the users are just looking for short-term gain, and they're not expanding with utility, right? So it's being alone, been long enough in this space to see a huge amount of layer ones and protocols that had a decent idea, but they never took it to execution. So I think that 100% I agree that in order for the Web3 to really break out, we need to build products that people want to use, right? Because they're useful, they're easy, and they are bridging as well with the side of Web2. That they have great UX, and that have a real utility. That they're solving a problem, and they have the engagement, right? So I think that that's where the VCs are looking right now. The projects that can demonstrate that they have utility-driven product, and the financial incentives. I think they still play a role, but yeah, it's gonna be the long term winners, and this is what we always look for in Web3, right? The side of the mass adoption. So I think the product market fit and the user experience is the side that we definitely need to advocate.
Yeah, absolutely, Daniel. And I know you have to run, man. I got your DM,
Yeah,
but yeah, thank you for that.
thank you guys.
Yeah, absolutely,
Okay,
bro.
see you soon. Bye.
See you, man. But yeah, he's 100% right, and I think a lot of times in this space, like there's been a lot of building for solutions for problems that don't necessarily exist, which I think is like a really more of an intrinsic problem that kind of happened, since 2021, I guess, if I had to really think about it, or as long as I've been in the space, right? But it's starting to. I think we're just following the same parallels as the .com era, right? Where like we had a lot of chaff that came out and then a lot of consolidation. I think we'll start to see that here because it's like, I think the elephant in the room is also like, how many layer ones do we need, right? How many layer twos do we need? These different things. You start to ask yourself the question where you start to see the same thing kind of repackaged over and over again. And you're like, okay, well, one of you has to like eventually pull out ahead. And we just kind of move on from there. But my opinion, right? ZK Link.
Yeah, dude. So to answer the question, I guess you also have to ask yourself, like, can you survive with any of these apps, or can you survive without them? Like, for example, on my phone today, there are stuff that I cannot survive with, like WhatsApp. And in Asia, we use something called Grab, which is very similar to Uber, but it's even, I think it's even more It has even more features than Uber. So Grab is like a super app where you can, get your food, get your laundry done, or get taxis. So these are real apps that that people here use every day, right? And sometimes you build a dependency on the app that you cannot survive without them. But in Web3 today, let's say I don't have like tomorrow, if all my uh, Web3 apps disappear, like Phantom, all those crypto exchanges, I can survive without them. I won't die without them. So that's how far behind we are currently when it comes to building real products that matter. So a lot of our stuff are still not really, in a way, it's not because it's complex. The most important aspect is it's not really needed for humans to survive yet, right? It's not that important yet. It's all just it's like it can be an additional hobby for people. So at the same time, as you mentioned, we are in a cleanup stage right now, right? VC money is drying up. There's no new money flooding the space, or it's very slow right now. It's unlike the last 2-3 years. So a lot of projects are dying, right? So it could be a very positive thing. Maybe perhaps in the next 2 years, 95% of projects will not survive, and then the strongest one will come up with real products that matter and end up being unicorns. So let's hope for the best.
Yeah, it can sound a little bit callous, but I think it definitely is a good thing. I think it kind of has to happen in order for the entire industry to move forward. Because right now there's just too many. It's like the analysis paralysis, right? It's like, what do I use? What do I invest my time in? Like, which one of these is actually going to get somewhere? Right now, we're completely speculative. Once the industry moves a little bit past that and you start to have things that are more evergreen or are going to last a long time, that also brings people over because not everybody wants to speculate every day. Of course, there's degens, and then there are people who do like to speculate on potentially long-term projects and stuff, but not everybody has that risk tolerance. So I definitely think that it's a good thing. Pengo.
Yeah. Uh, I think about a market product fee in Web3 priorities financialization or user experience. I think, in my view, are both are important. But if you want a Web3 to raise a mainstream adoption, I think user experience has to come first. If we only focus because if we focus on financialization like a token reward, staking, or price speculation, I think the ecosystem will become narrow and mostly attracts a trader or a short-term investor. That's that's not sustainable in the long term. Our Web3 has potential to bring a powerful technology to a much wider audience, but that can only happen if the products are easy to use, intuitive, and actually solve the real problems. Our financial incentives are great as just a containment, but they shall not be the main goal. So we have seen many project that initially attract a lot of users because of just big rewards, but then they are lost momentum because the user experience is not there. People just come for money, but if the product is not a useful or enjoyable, they leave as soon as the incentive dry up, like my just layer two. So on another hand, if we focus on building a products that are genuinely useful, easy to use, and solve the real problems, I believe that a user will come that stay even without a massive financial incentive. So financialization can then serve as a bonus, then strengthens engagement and help the ecosystem grow. I think we put user experience at the center of everything we do. All all our products and services are designed to be accessible, even people who are new to the Web3, like, for example, like our mini bot on Telegram can be used by anyone, no blockchain not required. Of course, we also offer a financial incentive like a pin with CDN, a staking, and also mining, like other apart and more that. But these are meant to complement the experience, not define it. So we regularly gather feedback for our community, run survey, and iterate on our products to make sure we are meeting real user needs. Because we want every feature we launch to add a real value, not just serve as a key or just a speculation tool. So we also make onboarding as easy as possible. So anyone can start contributing to the Bingo network by just running our app on their devices. No complete setup or just big investing in it. So yeah, for us at Bingo, product market fit always start with user needs and also comfortable. Only after that do we think about a financial incentive to the strengths, engagement, and help the ecosystem grow. With this approach, we believe can thrive in the long term and truly make a positive impact on the community.
Yeah, absolutely. Your incentives should basically be something that gets people in the door and gets them to want to use a product that they want to use in the first place, which I think what we've seen is a lot of incentives that get people to use the incentives, and then there's not a product that they actually want to use. I don't think that that's a controversial take. I mean, we've seen it time and time again. And the other thing that I think a lot of projects do wrong is you have to have incentives to get people in, right? You have to have them to get in the door. But eventually they may have to kind of peter off or, outside of using the product, having a product that they want to use, you also just want to be careful that you don't front load so much of your incentives and your bootstrapping right at the beginning because, then you start to have all these whales that can, dump and ruin your project. There's a lot to consider here. And just like how all VCs are not created equally, right? We talked a bit about VCs with somebody's answers, how they're kind of drying up. And that is true. But, there's also a lot of what I would call mercenary VCs who just come in and all they really want to do is pump your project for like 2 weeks and then exit, right? So it's another thing you really have to be considerate of here. But yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. So to basis this in Web3, a product market fit should be like building a strong, welcoming home, focus on the foundation user experience so that when people arrive, they want to stay and like invite their friends and make it their own. The financialization is the decoration, I think, the bonus that makes the experience even better, but it can never replace the importance of a solid and enjoyable and also a meaningful product. Yeah, we believe we can thrive in the long term to really make a positive impact on the community. I think that's it for me. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, man. Absolutely. Colonel.
Yeah, completely agree with the points that you guys have been making. And kind of on a similar note, I think tokens for Web3 have been a bit of a blessing and a curse. There have obviously been, great financial products for enabling people to access exposure to early stage projects and get involved with these ecosystems, bootstrap, kind of users, etc., and actually get organic users that way as well by getting people to try a product that's ideally good. Um, but I think a problem is that it's so easy to launch a token these days that a lot of people prematurely will do this and decide to TGE before necessarily having this product market fit or creating a product that actually warrants usage without getting an airdrop incentive in that place. So I think that's where people have gone a bit astray. I think we're slowly moving back towards building good products. I think historically it was much easier to make a lot of money from just launching a token and pumping the valuation. But I think retail is much more privy now. People have been through cycles. They kind of understand how these crypto markets work, and people aren't getting fooled by the same altcoin launches at billions of dollars that fundamentally don't still have product market fit. So I think we're slowly moving back towards a more organic, sustainable way of development, even if it is maybe slower in the time being. But I think for the long run, it's going to impact Web3 in a positive way, and beyond as well.
Yeah, I think the proof of concept, kind of being okay to run with, is definitely losing steam. at least you should be able to have a product ready. We're talking like a week after launch or something at the most. I mean, it gets to a point where, and again, this is also why the UI and the UX is always so bad, is because a lot of products really stay in that proof of concept phase for way too long. I can understand you may not have everything polished right off the bat as far as user experience and things go. It definitely takes feedback from actual users as well. That's not really what I'm saying, but like if it's 2 years down the road, and it still, reads to people like a proof of concept, there's definitely a problem. Absolutely.
Yeah,
So.
definitely. And I think there's also something to be said there about UX, where a lot of teams are very blind to their UX themselves because they're like, oh yeah, we're great. We have users, people are organically using our testing or whatever. Um, but fundamentally, a lot of people are just there because they think they're going to get a financial reward out of it, and they're willing to go through all these hoops and hurdles because they're Web3 native people and they're looking to get the airdrop. So you might not necessarily get the same level of user feedback that you need from people who are new to Web3 or from your actual kind of core base that's going to be using it in perpetuity after you launch.
Yeah, absolutely. Do some usability testing. I kind of drive this point home. My background, or at least my degree, is in technical writing, and one of the classes that really drove home to us was usability testing. That's one of the big things that I think a lot of people don't end up doing. And I don't mean this disparagingly if it sounds like it, but a lot of developers are really good at coding, right? But they're not really good at necessarily understanding how other people are going to view what they're making, which I think is something that you need. You need a well-rounded team for that, and somebody who can kind of get on the pulse and be like, hey, yeah, we understand that, this makes sense to you guys. It doesn't make sense to the general population. So just one of those things. But yeah, absolutely. Asset swap.
Hello, hello, everyone. It's me. I miss you guys. I hope you miss me too. I want to put my attention to a couple of things that have been said before. First of all, someone mentioned the fact that WhatsApp is something you cannot live without, but if it's a blockchain or his token or his crypto token will disappear, that's okay. He can continue his life. So first of all, I want to bring you to the attention that in the Middle East, 50% of the women not allowed to have their own bank account without permission of their husband or their brother or the father, which means we have a huge community of people, women, free, but they're not free because not, and many of them adapting also in many other countries which they have sanctioned, like Russia and Ukraine at the moment, which are all banking system. So I don't believe that the blockchain is something that you cannot live be without. Yes, there is a lot of fraud. Yes, there's a lot of products that are not so good, but let's think about nice to have and must have. If we think about the concept about some tokens that have no values, etc. Yes, there is many tokens that have no values, but sometimes they're going up and sometimes they're going down. And if you're able to analyze well or do a good statistic, you can just enjoy the ride. And sometimes people do need to enjoy the ride to have a couple of a little bit of cash in their wallet in the end of the day, because as we say, we do need to survive. And so many people they're here for the reward. That's why this is one of the problems we were trying to deal when we were trying to build a product. We say which kind of product we can do. So we had a big fight in our team because one of the members wanted to do something in a different concept, but we said no. Let's bring some clarity into the subject of a lot of token being popped up, and the money is going up and down, and people are in the dark and they don't know when it's a good time to invest or not invest. So that's why we said, what if we're going to use the AI for statistic to give us some kind of clues? How can we, even though this token have no value at all or have no need, but if I can use this existing market, which in the market now and is going up, why cannot we enjoy the fruit of this labor, of our labor? So this is about all the tokens that have no value. And also, when you think about it, when we buy product or when we use the product, we don't use it because we need them. Because if we want to see the time, we can buy a watch who costs $1. But so many people buy a watch of Rolex and it costs a lot of money, more than $50,000, and still they say they cannot live without it. So it's something that we've been brought to think about it. So yes, I want to bring back the subject to what we say. Yes, there's many products that we don't really need. There's many token that we don't really need. But this is the ecosystem we are dealing with. And we have to just to see the good and what's the bad and what is the best advantage that can come for our side. And as for the user experience, many people who write code don't know how to get dressed. They're very bad. Styling. They don't know which a nice haircut. Some of them don't even know to communicate with other people, but they are very good in building product and code. Okay. In order to build a product which will be also working code and also user experience, you need big funds and a lot of time and money to do it. So people, first of all, I do believe they have to work on the proof of concept of the work. And once there is the user experience come later on when they are become more stable and more financially stable. So this is my opinion about that. And I hope I answered to all these questions that you had before.
Yeah, you absolutely did. And in my opinion, a well-rounded team is worth, 10 times more than a team that's just, maybe five all-star devs versus a team that's like, two all-star devs and somebody who really understands like even human psychology for handling community in the space, and then somebody who understands usability of the masses. It's definitely more important than just having a front-loaded team that's really good at one thing and terrible at others. So yeah, absolutely. And I think that is one of the things that happens here quite often.
In a perfect world, it couldn't be imagined. But for us, for example, in the team, when we started to create our product, we don't have a budget. We know to write code. We spend all our money in education, and now we're using this good education that we bought to try to build something. Yes, we hope that and so many other startups in the blockchain, they are jumping and they're trying to do the best they can. Yes, definitely. If you have big funds, so you can take someone who can understand the psychology and someone who can understand about the design and user experience. And this, but all of this thing is something you can do only when you are very, very successful, not at the beginning of the road. That's why we are trying to reach out to audience and so on many other projects. And by being good part of the community, by being supportive, we can help so many other projects to become good, useful, and also profitable, so they can make the user experience more nice for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm all about the psychology aspect myself, which is why I, kind of get into these questions and philosophy and everything else. That's a bit of my background as well. Not to, show myself, but if you're looking for somebody, I'm down. But yeah, thank you guys and girl, appreciate you. But yeah, all right. Well, we are a little over time, guys. I'm sorry to kind of end abruptly, but I do have to run to another call here real quick. But I want to thank you guys for being here for Web3 Global Talks, episode 414. I know you guys are busy, and thank you all for engaging so well and answering my questions. Made it a really good space, so I appreciate it. I encourage you guys to follow each other as well. That's what this is about. Maybe you heard something from somebody that you never would have heard before. So, but I definitely appreciate it. And I'll see the audience tomorrow for episode 415. And until then, I hope you guys stay safe and have a good rest of your day.
Thanks for hosting, guys.